The town of Harmony Creek is one of those places that seems frozen in a simpler time. It's a town of picket fences and front porch swings, where the smell of fresh bread from the local bakery mixes with the scent of cut grass. At the heart of it all is the Steaming Mug Cafe, a cozy spot where the coffee's always hot and the greetings are always warm. It was here that Clara was wrapping up her day. Clara was as much a part of Harmony Creek as the old oak tree in the town square, an artist who captured the town's gentle soul on canvas. She was known for her quiet grace. She was sitting at a small iron table outside the cafe, sketching in her notepad, her iced tea sweating in the afternoon sun. It was a picture of perfect tranquility, a piece just begging to be shattered. They rolled in with a wheeze in a dusty, beat-up sedan that didn't belong. 3 men got out, moving with a jagged energy that was totally alien to Harmony Creek. Their leader, a man with cold, flat eyes and a scar that snaked from his lip to his ear, was called Cutter. He and his 2 hulking buddies scanned the street with the arrogance of wolves who just wandered into a sheep pen. Their eyes landed on Clara. Alone, serene, an easy mark. They exchanged smug grins. This town was soft, and this woman was the softest part of it. After watching her for a few minutes, their intentions curdling in the warm air, they made their move as she stood to leave. She turned down the narrow, quiet alleyway that was a shortcut to the parking lot, a path she'd walked 1,000 times without a second thought. Today was different. Before she was halfway down the alley, they were there, blocking her path. Cutter stepped forward, a humorless grin spreading across his face. "Well, hello there," he oozed, his voice like gravel. "In a hurry?" Clara froze, her heart hammering against her ribs. She clutched her bag to her chest, her eyes darting from one to the other. They were big, they were menacing, and they were enjoying the fear that was blooming on her face. I don't want any trouble," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "Oh, we're not trouble," Cutter chuckled, stepping closer and invading her space. "We're just new in town. Thought you could give us a welcome. Maybe that pretty bag of yours has a welcome gift inside." His associate, a brute with a shaved head, let out a low laugh. The third guy just watched, a silent, looming threat. Cutter reached out and grabbed her arm. His grip was a cold, unyielding vice. Panic, sharp and suffocating, started to set in. She was trapped in her peaceful, perfect town. A nightmare had just begun. Section 2, the rumble of justice. Just as Cutter's grip tightened, a new sound bled into the alley. It started as a low thrum, a vibration felt more than heard. To Clara, it was a sound of home and safety. To the 3 men, it was just an annoyance. "What is that noise?" the shaved-headed one grumbled, glancing toward the street. The thrum grew into a deep, guttural rumble, then a rolling thunder that shook the very bricks around them. It wasn't one engine, it was many, a dozen, maybe more. Cutter's smug look flickered with irritation, then confusion. The sound was getting impossibly loud, a symphony of raw power. Then they appeared. One by one, a fleet of motorcycles turned the corner, their headlights cutting through the haze like angry eyes. They roared directly toward the alley and formed an unmovable wall, a semicircle of leather and steel that sealed the thugs in. The engines idled, a collective, menacing growl. On the back of each leather vest was an identical patch, a stoic, ironclad guardian, with the words Steel Guardians MC stitched around it. The lead biker swung a leg off his bike and stood. He was a mountain of a man, moving with a calm, deliberate purpose. He took off his helmet, and his gaze landed on Cutter, then on the hand still clamped around Clara's arm. This was Jake, Clara's husband. Cutter's bravado began to crumble into a sickening dread. "Who the hell are you?" he choked out, his voice thin against the thrum of the engines. "This is a private conversation." Jake took a slow step forward. His voice, when he spoke, was unnervingly calm. "You have your hand on my wife," he said, his eyes never leaving Cutter's. "I suggest you let her go. Now." The words hit Cutter like a physical blow. My wife. He hadn't just cornered some random woman. He'd assaulted the wife of the man who led this army of giants. His hand recoiled from Clara's arm as if he'd been burned. "Look, man, we didn't know," the second thug stammered, hands up in surrender. Jake's eyes, cold as forged steel, shifted to him. You didn't know she was my wife, but you knew she was a woman, alone. You thought that gave you the right. You thought wrong. Jake took another step, and the whole club seemed to lean in with him. You need to understand something, Jake continued, his voice low. People see the vests and make assumptions. They don't see the reality of clubs like ours. We're the ones organizing charity rides for sick kids, holding fundraisers for veterans, and running food drives for local shelters. We protect this town by building a community too strong to be broken. He paused, letting the words sink in. But there is one ironclad rule. We protect our own. And you brought a fight to our family. Section 3, the lesson learned. The air in the alley was thick with the thugs' terror. They were statues with pale, regretful faces, staring at the silent jury of bikers that had already reached a verdict. The power dynamic hadn't just shifted. It had been completely annihilated. Cutter, a man who built his identity on fear, was visibly trembling. He looked from Jake's unyielding face to the line of stone-faced bikers, and he finally understood the colossal scale of his mistake. He hadn't picked a fight with one person, but with an entire brotherhood. We'll go, Cutter said, his voice cracking. We're sorry. We'll leave right now. Jake just nodded slowly. Yes, you will. He didn't need to shout. The promise of what could happen was far more terrifying than any threat. He gestured with his head toward the thug's car. You're going to get in that car, drive out of Harmony Creek, and never come back. If we see you or your car in this town again, we'll consider a donation. One of the other bikers casually tossed a set of keys in his hand. The thug's car keys. They'd been professionally and completely dismantled. It wasn't a suggestion. It was a sentence. Without another word, the three men scrambled, stumbling over their own feet to get out of the alley. They didn't dare look back. They fumbled into their car and peeled out, the squeal of tires a pathetic final cry. The steel guardians watched until the car was a speck in the distance. Only then did the tension break. The engines, which had been idling with menacing hum, were cut one by one, plunging the alley into a sudden, peaceful silence. Jake turned to Clara. The hardened club president vanished, replaced instantly by the husband. He closed the distance and wrapped her in his arms, holding her tightly. The other bikers respectfully averted their gaze, giving them their moment. They were a family, and they took care of each other. After a long moment, Jake kissed her forehead, and the bikers began to start their engines again, the rumble now a comforting and protective purr. They had arrived like a storm and now left like a quiet tide, leaving peace and safety behind.